everybody. So as you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to share with you some thrifting tips today.
Start your computations.
So for me, my thrifting journey starts with my mom. My mom is a huge thrifter, so is her mom, so is her sister, so is my sister, and it was sort of this family activity that we would always do. Like when my aunt came into town, we would go to my grandmother's house, and my mom, my sister, myself, my grandmother, my aunt, and I would always go thrifting, and we would make a whole day of it, and we'd go to a bunch of thrift stores. And beyond that, of course, I was also thrifting on my own. I even had, in high school, I had an Instagram account with a friend of mine, and we sold clothes on the Instagram. This was, of course, before Depop and Poshmark existed, and we basically would just go to thrift stores and then try to sell things to our high school friends and like exchange them in the hallways, but via Instagram. Anyways, this is a very long-winded way of me saying that I have been thrifting for a long time. I, over the years, have come up with some really good strategies as well as tips. I would like to clarify what I mean by thrifting. Thrifting to me does not include consignment stores. Consignment stores, you sell your clothes to the store and then they give you money in exchange for you giving them your clothes so that they can resell them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the places where you donate your clothes and you get no money in exchange. I do want to acknowledge that we are in the middle of a pandemic right now, and if you are thrifting, please wear a mask and use your hand sanitizer and distance yourselves at thrift stores. So if you are new to thrifting, or if you just want to hear some extra tips and tricks that maybe you haven't thought about before, keep on watching because I'm going to be sharing with you my best tips and strategies for thrifting. All right, so I have my handy dandy notebook, and I'm going to start telling you some thrifting tips. So this to me is an important thing to take into account when you are thrifting. So I am really big on the idea that you can manifest, and bear with me, I know this sounds kind of woo-woo-y, but I think you can manifest the things that you want to thrift. And what I mean is, like, I feel like I request of the universe the things that I would like to find, that I'm looking for. And maybe this won't take place over just one trip to the thrift store, but over a period of time, I tend to find that you can find the things that you request. So what I like to do, and I either say this to myself, or I say this to my buddy, I say this to whoever I'm thrifting with, is I want, turtlenecks, a new denim jacket, and a pair of Y2K chunky sandals. I think you can do this, and on one hand I say the universe will provide and will show up and will give you these things that you manifest. But I also think this is important just for you to actually have a purpose when you go to the thrift store. So even if you don't find those things that you're looking for, it gives you sort of a drive, and also you're looking in specific sections for the things that you're looking for, and you'll be so thorough that you're bound to come up with something. If you don't want to look for something super specific, like chunky Y2K sandals, you can look for something more general, which would be the fabric, the color or print, and the shape of something. So like, say for shape, maybe you're like, I really need puffy sleeves. You can just go down the aisle, skim, and go, oh, puffy sleeve, puffy sleeve, puffy sleeve. Or you go, I just want some animal print in my life. If I'm into zebra, cheetah, cow, you just go down the aisle with your eyes back and forth, and you just pull every animal print thing that you can find. As far as fabrics, I love looking for satin and silk fabrics, and that's another one that's just sort of easy. You can just see them. They stand out, especially if it's a lot of cotton. Then you can just pull the silk and like look at it, say yes or no. So in the ballpark of skimming and looking for specific fabrics, I think it really helps to understand the difference between your fast fashion fabrics versus your older, vintage, sturdier, more high quality pieces that you can find at a thrift store for an epic discount. This tip involves you doing a slight amount of research. So what I want you to do is go into your closet right now and compare the fabric between your fast fashion versus your expensive, maybe vintage piece of fashion that is sort of similar, and look at the way that the product is made. Look at the stitching, feel the fabric, notice the weight of the fabric. It's really easy to do this with denim. I think it's especially helpful when you are looking in the pants section to identify whether something is a higher quality or a lower quality. The weight of the denim is just going to be a lot heavier if you're looking for like a pair of older vintage jeans. The thing is, when you go to a huge thrift store, you can't touch every piece of clothing in there. I mean, you totally can, and it's just a marathon, and it's multiple hours of your day spent thrifting, which, I mean, I do that sometimes too, but if you would like to only spend like half an hour in the thrift store, this really helps you to skim and just to know what you're going to find that you'll like better, and it cuts out a lot of your time. My next tip is to shop the kids section. I don't entirely think this is super size inclusive as a tip, but a lot of times this kids section is where miscellaneous stuff just gets left and stuff just gets put there. I would at least recommend you walk up and down the kids section and just with your eyes skim and see if there's anything in there that could work for you. I also recommend, if you are on the petite side and the smaller frame side, looking in the little boys t-shirt section, because you can find great graphic t-shirts that can be crop tops. Also, boys pants a lot of times are already situated very similarly to high-waisted pants for women because they have such like a long rise. So I have in the past, although I don't have any right now that I can share with you, but I have bought boys jeans, little boys jeans, made sure that the waist fits me and that they're long enough in the rise, and then you can cut the legs out and turn them in, roll them up and turn them into shorts. So that's just kind of like a little, I don't know, that's more of a hack than anything else, but the little boys section, the kids section in general, skim it. You never know what you're gonna find in there. This is a combination of like almost more of a technique than it is a tip, but when you are thrifting, there are clothes on either side of you if you're going down an aisle. And I recommend, if you're not touching every piece of clothes, looking at the aisle, looking at the right side, going forwards, and then go back and keep looking at the same side, because that way you can see things from two different angles, and there might be things that are tucked away that you didn't see the first pass that you do see the second pass. I can't tell you how many times I've gone down an aisle and been like, there's nothing for me on that aisle, and then I've walked up it again and I've been like, oh my god, how did I miss this? In addition to that, this is more of a technique than a tip. I like filling my basket with everything, whether it's for sure's, maybes, I'm on the fence, put it all in the basket. What I do at the end is I look through everything, and sometimes you realize, oh yeah, I don't really want that. And sometimes you're like, you know what? Actually, I thought about it and I do need this. So that's the part that's how I like thrifting. I like putting it all in the basket and then deciding what I will buy and what I won't buy at the very end. This, I think, is a secret that a lot of people who have been thrifting for a long time pick up on, which is look at fashion shows. See what trends they are picking up on and try to thrift those trends. So the designer that comes to mind first that always does this, that you can always sort of style in the genre of, is Gucci. I mean, Gucci's clothes, like, you can totally style a look from the thrift store that looks like it's styled by Gucci. The other one that I recently saw that I was so obsessed with is this most recent fashion show from Paco Rabanne, which is, I was like, oh my god, this is my closet on this runway stage. It was lots of like lingerie, lace, leopard, denim, lots of like dainty versus grungy frumpy, which is basically my style in a nutshell. Do I have a rainbow on my face? I have these little refracting rainbow lights, so there might be some rainbows dancing around this video, sorry. But yeah, so I highly recommend watching the runways and then trying to steal from them so that you're not spending, especially because every year there are so many new like quote unquote trends, and it's so easy to go to the thrift store and try to thrift the trends where you can pay pennies on the dollar versus lots of dollars on the dollar. I didn't really think that one through. I love thrifting statement pieces. So my idea of a statement piece is something that like is the look, right? So I love thrifting overalls. I think those are statement pieces. I think you can thrift fabulous belts. Those are totally statement pieces. Anything like with like a fabulous print, which you can find that at the thrift store, and that's another one that's super easy. You just skim the aisle and you're like, I gotta look at that print. Sparkly things. You can find vintage clothes at the thrift store that are not vintage clothing store prices. Yeah, look for statement pieces at the thrift store. I don't think people think about doing that. I think when people think statement pieces, they think like a statement piece should be something that costs a ton of money, that you can keep forever. And I do think you can keep things from the thrift store forever, but I don't think it has to cost a lot of money. So thrift statement pieces. The next tip that I have is simply have your favorite section at a thrift store. If you're like, but I'm new to thrifting, I don't have that. Okay, let me share with you my favorite section at the thrift store, which I feel like every video I've made, I've like said this, but I love going to the lingerie section of the thrift store. It's like the lingerie slash PJs area, and you can find some good stuff there. You can find so many like camisoles, lacy camisoles. You can find cute like nighties, silk robes, dresses, slip dresses, lots of satin, lace, see-through. I could go on and on. You could watch one of my other videos where I only style lingerie, the whole video, all purchased at thrift stores. So whether you like that idea or not, you should have your own favorite spots to go to the thrift store. And it's, I mean, maybe you're just like, I really want a great new dress. Okay, go to the dress section as soon as you walk into the thrift store. Make a beeline for the dresses and look through, and that's where you touch everything. This is not skimming. You go through every piece of clothing in your favorite section. That's just how you do it. That's just, you will find your most success that way. I think that this is sort of the tip that every thrifter knows, and it is the most important thing if you want to find success thrifting. You gotta thrift often. And not consecutively often, but cumulatively often. You need to thrift to be a thrifter, right? You need to thrift to find the stuff. And you're not gonna find your, perfect pair of high-waisted vintage denim jeans the first time you go thrifting. If you do, I'm jealous, and good for you, that's really cool. But usually it's gonna take multiple tries before you can find those things that you were manifesting way back at the beginning of my video. So that's the most important thing. I think every thrifter would agree. You gotta thrift often. And even if you thrift, if you're like, oh my God, I only have 5 minutes before my Zumba class, pop into Goodwill, girl, like, go off. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe down below so you can see more videos like this one.